Terence Crawford's likelihood of being stripped of his remaining 147-pound titles just went through the roof with a move that was made by the WBO, and that not by the WBO, excuse me, by Matchroom Boxing, and that was the signing of a potential star in boxing and one of the best talents in boxing out of Philadelphia, Jaron Boots Ennis. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we are going to talk about the fact that Jaron Ennis just signed with Matchroom Boxing. And that is going to have an effect, at least in my belief, on Terence Bud Crawford. And I will explain why exactly. And it more than likely is going to force Terence Crawford to give up those belts, and not just one, probably multiple. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that supports in the super chat and the super thanks. That's a $sign with the right next to the comments. Thank you to everybody that does that. That support from Mattio, Barbara D, Jay Miltz, Jay Miller, and anybody else whose name I forgot or failed to mention. Thank you guys. Specifically, thank you. But let's get into this, because when Jaron Ennis signed with Matchroom, did not do what some people expected, even though I don't know what people really expected of Jaron Ennis, because it was just a lot of people didn't even understand really what was going on with Jaron Ennis. But Jaron Ennis, who is out of Philadelphia, is a welterweight champion, the IBF welterweight champion, and one of the best fighters, most spectacular fighters in boxing. I mean, just spectacular. Talent level through the roof, skill level from everybody's, from my vantage point, and every other like major or significant trainer or boxer says skill level through the roof, potential through the roof. Just, you know, man, really got an opportunity to go through, just be one of the best, if not the best fighter in boxing. Tremendous signing from Eddie Hearn and Matchroom to get him. Amazing. Amazing signing for him. Amazing signing from them. Because if they do him right, that's a tremendous, if they do him right and they can actually grow him, man, that really sets them off in the United States, in my opinion. Tremendous signing. That is going to affect Terence Crawford. And I'm going to tell you why that's going to affect Terence Crawford. Because now you have Matchroom, who is has a lot of influence with every sanctioning body. And is not afraid to use it. Now, let me repeat that. Eddie Hearn has influence with every major sanctioning body and is not afraid to use it. Eddie Hearn with the WBA down at 126 pounds can get his fighters shots at the WBA over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, with the WBO other than Bob Arum, probably the most influential guy with the WBO is probably Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn can get his fighters shots at the WBO over and over and over again. And he, again, is not afraid to do it. Now, I do not believe that Al Heyman really cares about the belts as much as Eddie Hearn cares about the belts. So what does that mean? It means that the 3 belts that are held by Terence Crawford at 147 pounds are now going to get pressured by a guy that has a lot of influence with them to fight his fighters or drop those belts. So Jaron, while the welterweight division was controlled by by the PBC for years, and only the WBO was over there at Top Rank, right? Top Rank had the WBO, so they could do what they wanted with the belts that Terence Crawford had, while the PBC had the rest of them. Big money fights, nobody's pushing anybody to do anything. But now that Terence Crawford is not with Bob Arum, so what does Bob Arum care about who has that belt, whether Terence Crawford has that belt or not? Doesn't. But you have the WBA, with the IBF, the Matchroom already has. Then you got the WBA, and then you've got the WBA, and you've got the WBC. That they're going to be pressured to drop those belts, and to have somebody fight those other fighters for those belts. Whether that be a fight lost for not a Josh Taylor getting the fight, or however this perverse situation is going on with Conor Benn, or whatever mechanisms that Eddie Hearn has to try to get his hands on those belts. That's probably what Eddie Hearn's going to do. And he's going to try to push through a media push to have his IBF champion fight whoever the champions are in those other divisions, and also push whatever fighters that he can sign or whatever fighters he can get to make those other belts vacant, and see if he can get them. That's going to be, again, that is promotional pressure that's going to be put on Terence Crawford. And there's not a lot of stuff Terence Crawford can do about it, because Terence Crawford's already saying that he's not going to fight in the weight class. He's not going to fight Jaron Ennis. All the idea of there being a Saudi fight with Terence Crawford against Magmadov, maybe, but you know, it's not going to be the only way that he's going to get that is if he drops those belts and frees up those belts at 147 pounds. I'm telling you, man, this is predictable and repeatable stuff from Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn doesn't have any problem trying to pressure people to drop belts or to try to manipulate or influence. Let me not say manipulate. That's a loaded term. Or try to influence the sanctioning bodies to do something. So really, we are getting to the point where this is definitely a SHIT or get off the pot type of moment. He's gonna have to do something with those belts. And when he goes to 154, then he's back in the PBC. He's back in the PBC arena. So as far as who's going to be fighting for those belts, who's going to get those belts, man, this is just a really, really funny situation that Terence Crawford finds himself. But honestly, man, if Jaron Ennis moving over to 147, moving over to Matchroom, and if that unclogs that 147-pound division where we can start getting some fights for all those belts again, hey, man, let's get it going. Because there's only been, in a year, there's only been one title fight in what will be a year. What are we at? A year, 15 months. We're going to be like a year and a half with only one title fight in 147. And I absolutely positively believe it's time to get that pushing. Terence Crawford need to figure out what he's going to do. Obviously, that Errol Spence Jr. fight is not happening in 147. So ain't no need to hold the belts. Just decide what you're going to do, because, hey, man, the walls are closing in on you, man. And it's just time to push. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.